We're hearing it everywhere, right? Generative AI is going to completely change education. The big promise is a personal tutor for every single student on the planet. I mean, the idea is amazing. Instant, one-on-one help whenever you need it. But what if that promise has a hidden catch?
I know, it sounds totally backwards. How could a tool that helps you ace your homework actually make you do worse when it really counts, like on an exam? Well, a group of scientists decided this was too important to guess at, so they put that exact question to the test.
So, to get a real answer, not just a hunch, researchers designed a proper, large-scale, randomized, controlled trial. This wasn't some small online survey. This was a serious experiment inside a real high school.
And when I say large-scale, I'm not kidding. They got nearly 1,000 high school math students to participate. A study of that size? Yeah, that means the results carry some serious weight. Okay, so here's how they set it up. The students were randomly split into 3 groups. Group 1 was the control. They had the old school stuff, textbooks, and their notes. Group 2 got access to an AI they called GPT Base, which was basically set up to act just like a standard ChatGPT. Then Group 3 got GPT Tutor, a version of the AI with some special guardrails built in to help with learning.
Every single class followed the exact same 3-step plan. First, the teacher gave a normal lecture. Then, the students had a practice session where they could use whatever tool they were assigned, notes or one of the AIs. And then, the most important part, a closed book exam. No AI, no notes. This was the true test of what the students actually learned and could remember on their own.
Now this is where things get really interesting, because the whole experiment hinged on the difference between the 2 AIs. You can really think of it as a showdown between what the researchers called an answer machine and a god.
So GPT Base was your everyday chatbot. You ask a question, it just gives you the direct answer. Simple. But GPT Tutor was designed differently. It was specifically instructed not to give away the solution. Instead, its job was to provide hints and to guide students toward the answer using materials their own teachers had developed.
And check this out. This one comparison tells you everything you need to know. On the left, a student just asked GPT Base for the answer, and boom, there it is, the whole solution served up on a silver platter. But on the right, the student asks GPT Tutor the exact same question and gets a totally different response. The AI says, "I'm afraid I can't give you the answer directly," and then it tries to get the student to think for themselves. It's a game changer.
All right, so the stage is set. We've got our 3 groups, our 2 different AIs, and a really clear way to measure what's working. Now, you'd think the students with AI would do better, right? Well, the results created this incredible paradox that I don't think anyone saw coming. First, let's talk about the practice sessions. When students actually had access to their AI tools, the results were amazing. The AI groups absolutely crushed it. This is exactly what you'd hope to see, right? The tech just worked, and it worked really, really well. And we're not talking about a small improvement here. The numbers were massive. Students using the standard GPT base saw their scores jump by 48% compared to the control group. That's huge. But the GPT Tutor group, they saw a mind-blowing 127% improvement. So at this point, you're thinking, wow, AI is the future of the classroom. But, and this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Then came the moment of truth. The practice session was over, the laptops were closed, the final exam began. Did any of that incredible performance actually stick? Did the students really learn it?
Get ready for this. This is the number that just shocked everyone. The students who had used the standard answer-giving AI, that GPT base, ended up performing 17% worse on the final exam than the students who didn't have any AI at all. Just let that sink in for a second. The tool that was supposed to help them actually hurt them.
And this table lays it all out in black and white. You can see the GPT Base group took a huge, statistically significant 17% hit to their exam scores. The tool was actively harmful. Now look at the GPT Tutor group. Their scores were basically the same as the control group. So the special safeguards didn't necessarily give them a huge boost in learning, but, and this is so important, it prevented the harm.
So what on earth happened? I mean, how can a tool that makes you better on the homework make you worse on the test? It seems impossible. Well, the researchers figured it out, and they gave it the perfect name, the crutch effect.
This quote, right from the research paper, just nails it. When the AI hands you the answer, you stop doing the hard mental work that actually builds knowledge. You start leaning on the AI like a cognitive crutch. And then, when that crutch gets kicked out from under you during the exam, you fall down, because you never built the mental muscle for yourself. And they had the data to prove this was happening.
Just look at this. Students who used the helpful GPT tutor sent way more messages for each problem. They were having these long, detailed conversations with the AI. Compare that to the GPT Base group, where the chats were super short and to the point. Basically just, give me the answer.
And it wasn't just about the number of messages, it was the quality of those messages. The researchers looked at how many conversations were non-superficial, meaning the student was actually trying to solve the problem, not just asking for the answer. And you can see the GPT Tutor group had way more of these real learning-focused chats. The other group, they were pretty much just copying and pasting.
Now here's the final and maybe the most fascinating twist. The researchers surveyed the students, and the students in the GPT Base group, the ones whose exam scores were actively being hurt, they actually thought they were learning more. They felt more confident. It's such a dangerous trap, right? The tool made them feel smart while it was actually preventing them from getting smarter.
Okay, so what do we do with all this? It's a little bit alarming. Does it mean AI is just bad for education? No, absolutely not. What it means is that the design of these AI tools is everything.
So if you're a student, the message is pretty clear. Be really careful about just taking the easy answer. That feeling of struggle, of wrestling with the problem, that's not a sign of failure. That's literally where the learning happens. For teachers, you can't just throw any AI tool into the classroom. You have to be so intentional about it. And for the people building these AI systems, the mission is obvious now. Build AI that guides, not just gives answers. You have to build in those guardrails for learning. And that really leaves us all with one big final question, doesn't it? As our tools get exponentially smarter, the pressure really shifts onto us. It's not enough to just build powerful technology. We have to be wise about how we design it and how we use it, to make sure it makes us smarter too. So how do we make sure that in our rush for easy answers, we don't forget how to actually learn?